Great. Next up, we have Ivan from Casino Free Philadelphia.
Hey, folks. So my name's Ivan, and I'm going to talk to you about casino capitalism. Casino capitalism is what we call the policies put in place by the 1% and their elected officials. These policies are sold to the public as get-rich-quick schemes, while behind the scenes, they're enriching the already wealthy. We see it in predatory home loans and predatory student loans made by banks and corporations who are enriching investors while indebting the public. We see it in private development like stadiums and convention centers funded by public dollars. We see it in the privatization of public space, like Dilworth Plaza being redeveloped for profit. We see it in the city closing schools, libraries, firehouses, hospitals, shelters, and other essential services, while simultaneously giving tax breaks to Comcast to build their tower. And we see it in the use of state-sponsored gambling, sold to the public as a way to fund human needs while extracting money from our neighbors and from our neighborhoods. Casino Free Philadelphia was formed in 2005 by individuals in Fishtown, Kensington, South Philadelphia, Chinatown, and elsewhere who were being offered money in the form of wage tax reduction and community redevelopment in exchange for a predatory casino a few hundred feet from their homes. And literally, I mean across the street from homes. Those people said no. They said, we're not morally opposed to gambling. We're not against poker games with friends or church bingo. Our target isn't the casino patrons or the casino employees. What we're opposed to is this city and this state using our money to help finance the predatory gambling industry to take more of our money out of our community. We're against casinos that, according to Pennsylvania's own research, destroy twice as many jobs as they create. For every job created by a casino, it kills 2 other jobs, while money that would have gone to local businesses, local restaurants, local shops, instead gets sent to investors in Chicago and Connecticut. So the people of Casino Free Philadelphia fought 2 casinos. They chased Foxwoods Casino from South Philly to Chinatown and back. They scared off Foxwoods' Vegas developer with overwhelming community opposition. And that casino, said to be a done deal in 2005, was never built.
Yeah!
A second casino, Sugar House, has opened. It did open at 1/3 of its original proposed size. It opened because of our delay in a harsh economic climate that limits its future growth. And it happened, because of those 2 things, to open to scathing reviews from casino patrons themselves. They hate it. It's small, it's dirty, it's cramped, it's ugly. So we're continuing to fight Sugar House. In particular, we're fighting their predatory practice of extending loans to people in the form of quicksand credit so you can actually gamble your way into debt at the casino. We fully plan, as this t-shirt implies, to bankrupt that casino and send it out of town. So I don't want to take up any more time. I do want to say that on Friday at 1 p.m., we're going to have an interactive workshop where we talk more about some of our successes and offer it as a model for economic justice campaigns. And we're going to talk in particular how we empowered communities that had little history of radical politics to participate in direct action and civil disobedience, to sit down in front of bulldozers and actually win some real concessions. So please join us on Friday at 1 p.m. right here. And we want to offer this model of fighting casino capitalism as a way to pressure the city to fight for economic justice. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Ivan. Next up, Phoebe from the Global Women's Strike.
Hey, you all. Hi. Thank you for having us here today. We are an international network of women in every continent and who are demanding the same thing, which is payment for all caring work, pay equity in the global market, and for society to invest in caring and not killing. When we are talking about caring work, we're talking about the raising of children. We're talking about the caring of elders and those with disabilities. And we're talking about the work we do to fight for our communities every day, whether that's being here at Occupy Philly, fighting against the war, or fighting miscarriages of justice in the prisons. We are based in Philadelphia, up at the Crossroads Women's Center in Germantown. We work as, in our network, are autonomous organizations of women of color, of queer women, of sex workers, and of women with disabilities, who are all fighting for the same thing. When we talk about the 99%, mothers, sex workers, children, we are all part of that 99%. But women are also doing 66% of the world's work, 2/3 of the world's work for 5% of the income. That's starting to where we want the money, to be going instead. We are also doing double and triple day, unwaged work on top of wage work. So what do we want? What do we want with this $50 million? And not just the $50 million for Dilworth Plaza, but 1/2 of the city budget is going to the criminal justice system. Half of the budget goes there. We want that money when we want military spending. So we want, and we want to be demanding pay equity, payment for all caring work, and we want some of the money to be shifted from going to the nonprofits who are working against us, yes, many of the nonprofits working against us, to be going directly into our hands so that we can control where the money goes and what we need it for the good of all of us. Thank you. And just to finish, our network is also in Haiti and Guyana, and I think it's really important to say that, the 99% is not just in this country, it's all over the world, and we need to be demanding all of these resources for all of us, and not just here in Philly. Thank you.
Thank you, Phoebe. All right, next up is Mary from the Every Mother is a Working Mother Network.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. The Every Mother is a Working Mother Network is a multiracial grassroots network that's based in Germantown. We started in 1996 to fight so-called welfare reform, which was punitive legislation that threw many more women into poverty. In 2007, we started an initiative called DHS, Give Us Back Our Children. And we're fighting the unjust removal of children from their families, and it's mainly from low-income black single mothers, but not only. Last week we showed our documentary here at Occupy Philly. The documentary is also called DHS Give Us Back Our Children, and we had a speak out. Our work is fighting individual cases to get kids out of foster care and back to their families. We also are organizing for policy changes, institutional changes, and fighting for the resources so no child is unjustly removed. Most kids are taken for reasons of poverty. DHS says they remove kids because of abuse or neglect, but what they call neglect is really poverty in most cases. Homelessness, unsafe conditions in the home because of no heat or electricity or no food. But what they do, instead of helping people with these problems, is they remove the kids, put them into foster care, which traumatizes the kids, destroys the families and communities, and costs millions of dollars on top of that. So we are working with mothers going to court, going to DHS meetings, meeting with the commissioner, and just confronting the policies that are ripping families apart. Some of our ideas for what we could do with the $50 million, or what needs to happen with the $50 million in Philly, is housing, first of all. We need affordable housing for mothers and kids. The waiting list for Philadelphia Housing Authority is 2 years long. And, you know, people are losing their kids, so we want to have housing that prioritizes families who've lost their kids because of homelessness. More funding for programs like LIHEAP, helping with helping families pay for heat and utilities. More legal help. We need help for funding for things like community legal services, because the attorneys that mothers are assigned to help with their cases are a joke, and many people are losing their kids because they have bad legal representation. Pay biological mothers the same rate that paid to foster mothers. Not that the foster mothers are getting a lot of money, but if mothers who, biological mothers got that money, many could keep their kids. And finally, shelters for domestic violence victims. Over 7,000 women were turned away because there was no room in the one shelter that there is in Philadelphia for domestic violence victims. Many women lose their kids because of domestic violence, so we think this is another place that the $50 million could go. Thanks.